This is gonna be a hard video to film. I hope I don't get like too emotional, guys, but I can't promise. I feel like it's been long enough where like maybe I'll just have like a little glistening tear come down, but other than that, a boss bitch moves on from those who have wronged her in her life. Hey everyone, how you doing? If you are new here, I'm Nicol Concilio and welcome to the video, y'all. So today, this video is a long time coming. I've been speaking about doing it for a while now. I'm honestly like a little bit nervous to do so because it's a lot of like personal information and like I don't want to be opening up a can of worms again, and like it's taken me a minute to like actually accept that this was the reality of buying my house and everything. But I've been wanting to film this video basically talking about all the struggles and all the problems that I had when first buying my home and still to this day continue to have. You know, they don't teach you this shit in school, and I have said so many times up and down, like, when the F am I gonna use the circumference of a circle? But y'all didn't even teach me about like escrow fees and realtor fees and first month's mortgage fees and all this other shit. Like, I wanna know, and like taxes and checkbooks and accounting. Let me tell you something. They need to change the way the schools are, but that's a whole other conversation. So I bought my home in 2018 in July and in Los Angeles, California, and low-key feel like I kind of rushed into buying a home because I was in a really bad situation at my apartment. The people below me were basically harassing me. Like any move I made, they were making noise complaints. Even when I was just sitting on the couch doing nothing, they were making noise complaints, and they were seriously making me so uncomfortable in my own home, and I don't even care. Like, I know that girl that lives there, watches my videos. Like, I don't even care. They made me so uncomfortable that I felt like I needed to get out right then and there. And I was also working with the timeline of it was going to be perfect because I was coming out of my lease. Basically, everything was lining up. Timing was amazing. Everything was perfect. Riley and I basically were like living together, and he was like, yeah, if you buy a house, I'll for sure like live with you. Are you kidding me? Like, and I was really scared of living alone. You know what I mean? I don't have a lot of family out here, and I don't have any family in LA actually, so I didn't want to be alone. You know what I mean? A young girl in her house alone, don't know anybody. Like, it sounds like the beginning of a freaking horror movie. Everything was lining up perfectly. I was in escrow on this home, and basically the address of the house had the word Mammoth in it. And if you don't know me or you're new to my channel, you guys know I met Riley skiing in Mammoth. So everything about this house just felt like it was meant to be. The street name that it was on was Mammoth. Like, it was already basically done and finished, and like I wouldn't have to touch the house. Like, it literally was like squeaky clean, amazing. And because there was a lot of bidders on the home, I wrote them a personal letter, like basically telling them how perfect everything matched and I really wanted this home and blah, 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 blah. And they accepted my offer, and I was so excited. I was about a week and a half into escrow when the owners wanted to pull out. And I still believe that there was a lot of sketchy stuff going on with the first home that I was in escrow with, because there was a lot of back and forth, like a lot of weird things with the dude who was selling the house. I honestly feel like there was a lot of like sketchy stuff going on. I wouldn't be surprised if I saw him in a mugshot in jail soon. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of sketchy stuff was going on. They wanted to back out, and basically the reason he wanted to back out was because he didn't get the job he wanted and blah, blah, blah. And I was kind of like playing hardball, you know? I was like, it doesn't matter. You signed a contract. We're already a week and a half in escrow. I have spent X amount of dollars on doing inspection fees. I was like, to avoid a long legal ass battle, I was like, here, take your freaking house back. It wasn't meant to be. I'm not trying to fight with you and deal with all your sketchy shit. Since I was falling out of escrow and it wasn't really on my account, I didn't do anything wrong, it was on the owner's account, I needed to find another house fast. Finding homes in LA is incredibly difficult, especially like for the price range that I wanted and just what I felt comfortable with, you know what I mean? I often forget I'm only 26 years old and I'm living in a home that I bought with my own money, and damn, that is awesome, and it's all because of you guys. So I was quick and I was like, I need to find homes now because I knew I didn't want to stay in my apartment. I knew I was like over that whole situation. They were literally harassing me and I was just over it. I don't know if this is a Sagittarius thing. I don't know if it's a me thing. I don't know if it's also because I have a Leo moon, but once my mind is set on something, I have to do it, okay? Like there is something in my brain that won't allow me not to do it. Like whether it's tattoos, buying a home, getting a new car. Once I have my mind set on something, your girl has to do it, period, with a T at the end of it. I had found this home, basically the home that I'm in right now, my current home. And it hadn't even gone up on the market yet. Like it hadn't even had its first open house. My realtor basically kicked ass and got us in the house before the public was even able to see it. I saw it. I saw how renovated things were. I saw how nice and everything had been. I loved the way it was staged. And I fell in love with it. I was like, you know what? This is my house. It had a bigger, better yard. Honestly, in the long run, I did luck out from falling out of escrow from that first house because there wasn't nearly enough yard space and the parking on that street was an effing nightmare. Whereas where I live now, I have so much yard space for the dogs and I have so much parking. So it really was a win-win, and that's going back to everything happening for a reason. I was eager on this house and I wanted it. And I didn't care if it hadn't been on the market long. I didn't care about anything. I put my offer in. I offered what they were asking. I didn't even negotiate. I was like, listen, you want this? Sure, I'll give it to you. I want this house. I need to be out of my apartment. They pretty much didn't believe that I could afford the home, which is like a very common thing for like young people like me. And I'm sure there's a lot of youngins watching me right now. They made me go through so many jumps and hoops and loops and scoops to basically get this home. And that wasn't even my own mortgage company, like because Riley's mom actually helped me get my house. So shout out to Chris, shout out to her. They wanted me to go through their bank to prove that I was able to buy this home and all this shit. And right off the bat, I should have known like these people were gonna give me problems. I bought the house. I have 2 weeks to basically do my inspections, and I didn't really know much about inspections, and I would have changed so much if I could go back in time. So I bought a flip house. Basically, this house was old and outdated. It was built in the 40s, and a company bought it, flipped it, and put it on the market. I bought this said's company house, what they flipped. And let me tell you something, these knew exactly what to hide and where to hide it so that inspection wouldn't pick up on it. I'm telling you right now, if you're going to buy a home, spend the extra money to bring in at least 2 different home inspections or home inspectors. I'm telling you right now, the next time I buy a future home of mine, I am bringing in the guns, the weapons. I am having like 40 different inspections. Knowing what I know now, I would have done a lot of things differently. I also am stubborn, and I do feel like I had to go through this to see that because I don't really take people's advice. I'm a no advice kind of bitch, and I wouldn't have listened anyway. So we buy this house. It passes inspection. I'm great. I'm doing good. Everything's great and dandy. I'm happy living in my new home. About 2 weeks of living in the house, because nobody had lived in the house for a year because they were renovating it, shit hit the fan, literally. Stuff started happening left and right, so much so that we have documented pictures, we have videos, we have so much stuff that started going wrong that literally makes me sick to my stomach to think about. Like how this company that sold me my house, how this flip company can sleep at night is beyond me. And I left them a super nasty voicemail, like super nasty. And I was like, what if you had a daughter and someone did this to your daughter? How would you feel? Like I literally wanted them to feel bad, but they didn't. They could not care less. The first thing that we noticed in my house that was wrong was the pool. Now, we knew this was a dated pool and we knew we were gonna have to redo it. So I was kind of like, okay, I'm buying this house with the intention of redoing the pool. But what I didn't catch, and I actually caught on the 4th of July, just days after closing on my home, they painted my pool with house paint and filled it up with water. Not only did they completely damage the mechanics and the pump and the way the pool worked, they literally put me and Riley and our friends and family at risk with this house paint. You touched the side of my pool and paint came off on your freaking hands. That is so incredibly illegal and dangerous. After talking to a lawyer, I found out that it was like literally a felony because of how dangerous it was for all of us to be sitting there with paint, literally wet paint. You guys, they took house paint and painted my pool with it. They painted the inside of my pool with it. House paint. And then filled it up. Like, I can't get over it. I have a ton of videos I'm going to have my editor insert for you guys because I'm not going to sit here and try to show you. I mean, you can see right here, Riley touches the side of the pool and paint comes off on his hands. Like, that's insane. And that's what was happening, and we figured it out on the 4th of July. Wow, not only did I have a huge party there, I had a shit ton of influencers, and I didn't want, like, my first house party, like, having a pool full of paint. So not only did they do that wrong, there was also no ground to my pool, meaning we could have literally been electrocuted if the wires weren't working right or were crossed wrong, or God forbid something happened and shorted. That entire pool would have been an electrocuting mess. So we found that out once I was redoing my pool and the backyard. My guy Ronnie called me up and was like, girl, you guys don't have a ground in your pool. And I was like, okay, like, I don't know what that means. What is that? And he was like, you guys could have literally died in this pool. I don't think you understand how dangerous that is. And I was like, no, you're right. Like, I actually had no idea. Right then and there, I should have had a pool inspector or a pool somebody come out and check the pool. I never did that. I honestly thought the home inspector that I used should have done that or should have checked out the pool for me, but he didn't. There wasn't really any reports on the pool. And now I know next time to hire a pool guy to come and check it out, or hire a pool inspection company or somebody to come and check it out. Shortly after we figured out the problem for the pool, we noticed that there was a problem with our dishwasher. It was flooding, like it wasn't draining. There was something weird going on, and I was like, oh, whatever, just like sometimes that could happen. Maybe it just because it hasn't been used in a while, or like we're the first people using it, or whatever the situation may be. You know, sometimes shit clogs, you know, like it's a whatever. I think this is the part that literally makes me the most emotional, is because like they knew what they were doing, and the fact that they could just sleep at night knowing that they did this to someone is mind-boggling to me. They didn't finish connecting the draining for my dishwasher and my sink. I'm like getting emotional talking about it. Only way you would know this is if you literally knocked down the drywall underneath my sink. We called in a plumbing company. We were like, I have no idea why my dishwasher isn't working, why this is clogged. We open up underneath the sink and we run the disposal in the sink. Everything starts flooding and pouring out from the piping underneath this kitchen sink. They didn't finish the plumbing. They didn't finish the plumbing on the sink and the dishwasher, and they knew they would get away with it because it was hidden behind drywall. You literally would have to break down the walls with a freaking hammer or a saw to literally find this out. Oh my God, I'm freaking sweating. My blood pressure is like through the roof. And the crazy part is the disposal fumes that come from not only the toilet, come from the sink garbage disposal, they are supposed to be directed outside of your house. This is all shit I didn't know and became knowledgeable with when having my house and having these problems. You're supposed to direct the fumes out of the house because that's toxic and that's like bad to have. It was rewired to go back into the walls of my house. Basically, the poisonous and toxic fumes that come from flushing a toilet, that come from shit, that come from like disposal that was supposed to be filtered out of my house was being filtered back into my house from unfinished plumbing. Bitch. Oh my God. Not only are you putting my life at risk with that, you're putting Riley's life at risk and you're putting the dog's life at risk. And I'm sorry, but if you F with my dogs, I'm coming for blood with my Dior foundation. What the hell is this gonna do? I'm coming for blood. So not only was that extremely emotional and whatever to go through, I was having these headaches and migraines. My doctor literally thinks that this was the reason why. Like, they were literally causing medical issues with me and my family in my house. Like, not okay. And I'm gonna show you guys a video as well. There's water pouring out of the back faucet where it wasn't finished off. Like, just shit like that where like an inspector should have caught, like he should have opened up and ran the drain to see that. Like, that's so dumb that that wasn't caught. And then we started digging and digging and digging and fixing the plumbing in my house and going under the house. The corroded pipes that they found that were dug underneath the ground like this is the original plumbing from the 40s. This is from the effing 40s, you guys. They tried to hide all this shit from me. And you know how they hid it? They put a shit ton of grass over it so that I wouldn't find it and so that you would have to dig underneath my grass to find this. They put hedges, they put all these things, make it look nice and pretty, put a little bow on it. But all of this stuff, they knew. It's so criminal, and I wish I could say the name of the company without like getting sued, because I'm pretty sure they could sue me if I said the name of it. They really effed me, guys. Like, look at this. Look at this. There was water bottles thrown underneath here, like crazy, crazy, gross ass things. Like, oh. And this was another thing in my freaking attic. Oh my God. I can't believe I'm opening up such a big can of worms right now. We'll get on to the attic stuff. And so with the plumbing, they knew that there was stuff wrong with it because we got evidence of them like trying to break stuff up. Things looked like they were cracked and broken and then put into place. They knew how big of a job this was going to be. And they said, F it, and patched everything back up to leave it for me. I'm not kidding you guys. On top of buying my home and putting a down payment on my home, not including my backyard, which I knew I was gonna have to fix up, I probably had to put in an additional 100 grand into my house. And I'm not being dramatic. I'm being 100% factual in saying that. And if I knew that, I would have negotiated so much harder and would have brought their asses to court and had them locked up, because what they did is so illegal. But the problem is, I signed that I was buying the house as is, and I technically don't have any legal case. So that is my own fault and my own problem, and the reason I'm using my knowledge today is to tell you guys and show you guys all of the evidence and the proof. And if you are interested in buying a home, this is the shit that we literally are still to this day going through. So I bought my home in summer, like I was telling you guys, July. So around September, when it really starts to get hot in the valley in LA, we noticed our air conditioner was being weird, and we knew that we had a brand new air conditioner, but the venting system was all weird. Like, it would sometimes shoot out of one vent, sometimes not shoot out of the other vent. It was just so finicky. And so one day, a friend of mine, he actually helped me with a lot of the security things with my house. He was like, I'm gonna call and check in on your AC because I feel like there's something going wrong here. And I was like, sure, no problem. You guys, they had exposed open wires in my attic that was connected to the air conditioner that literally could have caught my house on fire. How an inspector missed this is beyond me. Honestly, it sounds like I honestly should be suing my inspector too. I'm not trying to sue anybody. We're alive, we're safe, we're fine. These were all the exposed wire in my attic. Things just open, exposed. This is so dangerous and such a fire hazard. This red glowing thing right here, that's to show whether or not a wire is live. I had the guy take a photo of it. The way they did the venting system is they cut holes in my attic and just prayed and hoped to God that the air would direct down. It cost me $5,000 to fix that, you guys. Literally, and I'm still paying off some of this shit. And I'm being so open right now and real with you guys, and I'm throwing around real numbers so that y'all are prepared, you know what I mean? Because I really wish that someone would have guided me in this, or that I had the knowledge in this, you know what I mean? They didn't teach me this shit in school. I don't have any family out here helping me in LA, you know what I mean? So I'm spewing all these numbers out and talking big numbers because I want you guys to realize like how insane this is and how like lucky I am to be alive, because there are so many things that could have gone wrong with that house. I could have literally burnt to the ground. We could have gotten mold poisoning. We could have literally had the dogs die from like the toxic fumes. Like there are so many risk factors. Oh, and the electric. Don't even get me started on the electric box, because that was something that should have been caught up in inspection as well and wasn't. My electrical box was basically also from the 40s. It was unlabeled and oof, bitch. I had literally a person that worked for the fire department come and look at my electrical box, and he said that he couldn't believe my house wasn't in flames already, just based on how bad the electrical box is. Now, I don't have photos of the electrical box. If I happen to find them, I'll, and of course, include them in here, but it was a nightmare. Just take my word for it. Yeah, here, I have my notes, literally my notes. Faulty wiring for the garage lighting, exposed wires above ground to pool house, not up to code, no cover on the panel, multiple wires tapped and crossed. Panel is maxed out. I mean, guys, I'm running out of hands here to count all the things that was wrong. And so I've said before to you guys, I don't know if I've like ever formally said it in a video, but where I film is separate from my house. I actually film in the mother-in-law suite. That's what they call it, which is separate from my house. I love it because I feel like I go to work. You know what I mean? I feel like I leave my house and I go to work. It's so nice. It really helps me too, especially since I struggle with anxiety and depression, you know? So it helps me feel like I get out of my house and go to work. They had a wire that they literally ran from my electrical box to where I film. The wire was above ground and they hit it with wood chips. They literally hid this wire that basically connects the power to here where I'm filming under wood chips. And one day Riley was mowing the lawn, blah, 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 and he cut the wire with the lawnmower to this room. It is a miracle that he wasn't electrocuted, you guys, because these were live wires. We had that thing. There's this thing, like if you have an electrician in the family or if you own homes or whatever, there's this thing, button thing, device, like it's like this, kind of similar, and it makes a beeping sound if a wire is still live. And Riley had beeped it to see if it was still live, and it was. So basically, Riley had a little guardian angel on his shoulder protecting him, because he could have literally got electrocuted from that. I'm also dealing with a lot of cracked stucco on the outside of my house that is getting worse, that they were supposed to fix and didn't, and I can't get a hold of them now. So I'm stuck with the freaking problem. And the last thing I'm gonna talk about is the flooring in my home. Sorry, I have a whole little list here. So when we first bought the house, the flooring was amazing and incredible, and there was nothing really wrong with it. I would say 3 months after like living in it and walking around on it, it wasn't like done correctly, because now shit is like popping up, floors are creaking, things are bowing. I don't even want to know, like I'm like kind of like over dealing with my house problems right now. I could only imagine what it's gonna cost to fix my flooring. Moral of the story is, if you're buying a house, especially a flip house, have multiple inspectors. I didn't even know like I could have a plumber inspector or like a pool inspector. Literally, next house, I'm gonna spend so much money just on getting inspections done, because I literally got so for lack of better words, with my house, and I don't want you guys to have to go through something like that. And I hope that this is educational and helpful for you guys, because that's the whole reason. And obviously, like, it's a little bit therapeutic ranting to you guys, because I don't normally like rant on my channel or anything like that. I also have no idea how long this video is gonna be, so I'm gonna end it now and just say, you know, you guys, if you're in the market for a house, like, you really can't rush into it. I absolutely rushed into it. I barely read contracts, and there are still things popping up here and there that need to get done and need to get fixed. And oh my god, I know a lot of things happen with homes, and it's typical. Like, you buy a house, like, things happen. It comes with the territory of owning a home, but we got royally screwed, and I wouldn't change it for the world, because I love my house. Like, I love it. I love the way it is. I love how homey it feels. I love my backyard. I love that we redid it and was able to do our own finishing touches on it. Like, that's so cool to me. I love the yard space for the dogs. I mean, everything happens for a reason. And yes, I had to go through this to learn a lesson, but this is all the crap that went wrong with my house. And I'm sure I'm leaving stuff out, but I want to end this before the video is like an hour and 30 minutes long. And I hope that this was helpful, you guys. And, you know, let's vent together. If you're going through house problems, comment down below. I'd love to, you know, even offer you guys advice if you need it or anything like that. But yeah, that is what happened with my house. And there are also some things behind the scenes that were going on with my career and financially that I will eventually tell you guys one day, because ooh, that is a story in itself. Not only were my house problems there, my business problems were there, and like my mental health problems were there. So it was a great cocktail of things just going wrong. And you know what? I can't sit here and cry about it anymore. You know, we're getting shit done. We're getting things done. Things are moving along. It's finally starting to feel like my house and safe, because that is the biggest thing. Oh, and they found mold under my sink. That was another great thing. Molds, love it. Gotta love it. Gotta love breathing that shit in. And I had to bring a whole mold guy to come in and knock out underneath the sink. That was a whole thing in itself. But I hope you guys found this video educational and entertaining. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for letting me rant. And if you like what you see, please consider subscribing. I promise I'm not always this angry. I love y'all so much. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.